everyone, and welcome to Knitography Farm. I'm Patricia, and I'm coming to you from the Trøndelag region in the middle of Norway. It is a blustery day here on the farm. The wind is blowing, there are hundreds of birds flying about. A storm has blown in up on the mountain from the fjord, and everything is in movement. I have been out this morning. I'm freezing right now. I've been out for several hours because during the week we received almost a meter of snow, just at a meter. And before the snow came, under the snow, there was sort of a meltdown, and then it created a layer of ice. So I have been out this morning hacking away at that underlayer of ice to be able to get the barn doors open. It's been very challenging. We have moved a lot of snow since Thursday. Those are activities that happen or challenges that happen on the farm, and you really have no way to prevent them, and you just have to put everything else aside and work on those things. So my weekend has been a lot of moving snow, a lot of trying to get the sheep settled in the barn and get the doors open so that they can come and go as freely as they would like to during the day. So I'm just warming up with a little coffee, and I've got the door open. I'm just looking so forward to the day when I can record again and be outside, because that's where I really like to be, up in the forest or somewhere special to share this time together with you. It's been a exciting week also because of my international guests that are coming. I have been meeting with a lot of different farmers. I have been going to places that we're going to visit and interacting with a lot of those people. And that's something that I don't really get to do on a normal week. I work very much alone here. Sometimes, as you know, Emma Grace is with me, but I work a lot solo and just being here working in the barn on my handmade pieces. So it's been really exciting to connect with other people that are doing the same kind of work that I'm doing, to hear their stories, to see their production, to look at how they're being mindful of the planet and sustainable in almost every area of their work. And it's just been incredibly inspiring and motivating to me. I was on Woolenberry last Sunday as an example for the whole day together with Gunn Elin, and she's hosting my visitors for a whole day, and we've just planned a beautiful day of knitting and interacting with her farm and kind of wool that she raises. I left there so full and so inspired, and she's also very high energy, so she's up early and she stays up late and she's always got something going on. And I got to go into her sort of studio room and see all of the products that she's creating from her own Norwegian wool. That really inspired me for what's to come here on my farm. I've also been super excited because there are several farms that are going through lambing right now. The lambing with my mentor farm doesn't start until just after Easter, but I'm already looking forward to lambing and that season of spring that is coming. It's an exciting time. It was really nice to get back to vlogging. I want to just say thank you to everyone that has always followed my making journey and my farm journey, and for those of you that are new. It's hard to catch up on somebody's story, but thank you for joining me, whether you're new or whether you've been following my journey. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the messages, the kindness that was shown to me, the understanding for what I was going through. And the more I talk to other farmers that have the same sort of perspective that I do, the better I feel about it. I know that this is a phase, this is something that I've got to work through, and they've also worked through it. It'll all be all right in the end. As you know, I'm really looking forward to growing my flock. I've spent a lot of time with them this week, shoveling snow, just appreciating them, as I told you in my previous vlog. They're wonderful, and I'm looking forward to adding some new members and acclimating them into the flock, and just all the beautiful days that we're going to spend up in the forest this summer and this autumn. So as I told you in my previous vlog, I've just been wanting to go back and show you the knits that I finished in December when I sort of turned the corner. I want to just make sure that I show those, and maybe they'll inspire you. And then we'll get right up in this vlog soon to what I'm actually working on and what I'm finishing now. That's my plan anyway. So we'll just get right into the knitted objects that I finished. I want to just start off with this beautiful hat that I started after I finished all of the shawls that I was making. Speaking of shawls, I might want to just tell you that this shawl that I'm wearing, I think, is a Bristol Ivy design. This is a design that she did for Quince Co. What's important here is that this was the first knitted piece that I ever made out of my naturally dyed wool. This is not my own farm yarn. This is a wool that a member of my co-op, it's her wool. So it's Norwegian wool, but it's very rustic. It's from a Kvitso. So that means that when I started, it was just pure white. And she actually rescues this wool from other farmers as well to mill. Now, I just love this shawl. I love the color. It's a sort of a sage green that I achieved. I wear it a lot, especially on a blustery day, because it is really rustic. It's very warm around my neck. I don't often wear hats, but when it comes this time of year and there's a lot of wet snow or a lot of heavy snow or what we call sleet, I like to pop on a slouchy hat. And I always knit a hat every season. I have a stack of hats going back for many years since I became a knitter. So this year's hat is this design by Ysolda. It is called the Caringorm, and I'm sure that I'm not pronouncing that correctly. It sounds like a Scottish word, which is where she is. This is knit out of Rauma Wool. The colors are just waste yarn that I had, and I used a new ball of the natural. I really love when a hat starts out with a contrasting color into the rib, and then you have this stranded knitting pattern all the way up, one color per row, so it's really easy to follow. Really, a beginner could knit this. And then I love this kind of crown decrease at the top. I love the crown of this. It'd be perfect for a pom-pom if you like wearing pom-poms. The hat looks quite big right now because I got it super wet this week, and then it can stretch out a little bit, and it needs to be probably popped into the washer. But it's super slouchy. It goes over my ears. It's super warm, and it just gives me that extra layer so that I don't get soaking wet on my hair. I really don't need a hat because my hair is so thick, but on those days that saves me getting soaking wet. But this is a hat I would really recommend for a beginner. I think this is such a beautifully inspired pattern. I think it would make a gorgeous vest. I can just imagine it in many, many colors. But I always tend to go with this, the blacks and the yellows, the grello colors. Actually, this isn't black. This is a really slate gray, but yeah, those colors really appeal to me. So the next project that I completed after the hat was a pair of beautiful mittens. These mittens are knit out of Let Lopi. They are coming from this book, 35 Mittens. It's a Swedish book from Maja Karlsson. And this book is also found in English, called Maja's Swedish Mittens. It's my goal to really knit all of these mittens within the book, and I'm a third of the way there now. I really love this book. So it has mittens for all occasions. I'm going to talk about the mittens on the front in just a second. But this pattern, it's kind of Russian or Estonian inspired. It's a very sharp decrease up to this point with a thumb that reflects the point at the top. You have this beautiful Latvian braid that starts off the knitting, and then you have this simple pattern here on the cuff. What I really love is this pom-pom detail. Now, I would never wear these mittens working on the farm, but I really would wear them to go somewhere special. You see that the cuff fits nicely. There's lots of room in the thumb, and you've got a good fit up here in the hand. Although this is a very different shape than I'm used to. I love this detail sticking out of your coat. I just love these mittens. They're so quick to knit. Beautiful. Yeah, Russian or Estonian style pair of mittens. They're super warm at this time of year with the Let Lopi, and I have conditioned them. I know a lot of people worry about using Let Lopi, but if you condition the wool after you're finished with the project, when you're blocking them, and you use a real gentle wool wash, and then you just use a very inexpensive hair conditioner within your blocking bath, then it comes out soft and smooth, and you maintain the beautiful halo, rustic halo of the wool. I made this feature, or accent, I guess you would say, with a pom-pom maker that I'm designing from my farm. That'll be coming out in the middle of March. I have made the smallest pom-poms from that design, and I'm making it so that you can have a small, a medium, and then you can also create a large pom-pom that could go on the top of a hat. So I'm working on that design. I've already drawn the way it's going to look, which is really fun and whimsical, and I have that sorted. But what I'm really working out now is the technical bit to make sure that you get the actual size of pom-pom that you need. So that will be a very nice knitting tool that will be coming out in late March, I hope. So if you like making pom-poms and you want a pom-pom maker that's easily fit in your knitting bag or light enough to transport, then those will be coming soon. Right before I traveled to America, I met with my friend Anita. She's a Norwegian designer. She's incredibly talented. She has designed many inspired Selbuvater mittens. She's also designed many kofta mittens that reflect the traditional kofta designs. And I met with her before I left for America, and she actually had knit one of Maya's mittens as a gift to me. Now, one of the things that I love about Anita and her designs, and it always leaves me just going wow, is she often takes a very gammeldags or old-fashioned idea and brings it right up. Pieces that modern knitters can wear. And if you see on the cover of Maya's book, this is a very traditional, old-fashioned looking pair of mittens, especially this cuff you see here. Now this would be very Swedish. We don't have such a cuff in Norway, to my knowledge. You would wear this with your folkdrakt, bunad, we say in Norway. And I'm absolutely in love with this rosemaling kind of pattern. This really reflects a Scandinavian painting. But as you see here, this probably fits very well into a Swedish folk costume. But Anita has taken that beautiful pattern and she has added a traditional Selbu cuff to it. When I saw this pair of mittens, I just gasped. She showed it on Instagram and I just fell in love with it. This brings this whole mitten up. It gives it a modern yet very traditional look. So this gradient, she's just used small, I think she told me she used waste yarn in just a variety of shades, and they reflect in the cuff, and not only that, they reflect in the palm of the mitten. So you see that she's used with the fleas, we call them fleas, these little dots in the palm and also into the thumb. I think these are stunning, just stunning. I'm sure it's Rauma Wool. I think it's Finul. I just can't remember the wool that she told me. I wanted to show you how beautifully they fit. This cuff is nice and long and very feminine, like the Selbu vaulted, and then of course it comes up into the traditional decrease. But this, of course, is not the traditional thumb. This is an anatomical thumb, which is a part of Maja's folk mitten. It has the anatomical thumb. So I'm going to put Anita's information here on the screen, and her patterns are often in English and in Norwegian, and you can go and just look at her beautiful Selbuvalter designs, her kofta designs, her own designs. You'll see those on her Ravelry page. And although this is not her design, she is often very inspired by other designs to create something new and fresh and modern. And I just absolutely love this pair of mittens. I'm actually going to knit this myself, and I'm really thinking of knitting the same cuff. I've only worn these one time when I went to the church at Christmas. They're just so beautiful. I have them on my making area here just to look at and inspire me. So as I said, you can find this book, Maja's Swedish Mittens, in English, and has beautiful mittens for all occasions. After I knit Maja's mittens, I wanted to knit my husband an anniversary gift. Before I went to America, I went to the bookstore and I waited in a line outside of the bookstore so I could get it on the day that it was coming out. And it was so fun because they haven't even unboxed the book yet, and they were getting it up on the shelf. But that is this book called Modern Traditional Knitting. It's by Berge. I'm excited to tell you, as we speak, is being translated into English. If you are inspired by the designs, the many designs that I am knitting from this book, you will be able to get this book in English. I don't know when, but I do know that it's being translated. I wanted to knit my husband an anniversary gift. I knit him this beautiful traditional tie, and a tie in Norwegian is called a slips. Birge has used these colors, but I wanted to knit the traditional Trøndelag bunad colors. So I knit my husband this beautiful Trønderblå, the Trøndelag tie. I knit it out of Rauma Gammel serie garn that I had left over from the Trondheim mittens. I used that leftover yarn to knit this tie. You knit the body of the tie, and then you knit this part of the tie, the part that creates the look of a traditional tie, and then you're going to crochet and use a button closure for the neck. Now this does not look like it will fit around somebody's neck, but it actually fits perfectly. You can actually see the picture of my husband wearing this tie on my Instagram feed. You can just scroll down not too long ago and you'll see that he's wearing this tie. I love how it's not seamed together But I love how it starts off with a really nice beginning that looks like a faux seam, and then you just knit. It has the traditional sort of like Selbuvåter palm for the backing, and he looks stunning in it. Now, I had memorized the little chart that you use, and I actually was watching and not paying good attention, and there is a mistake here at the bottom, and I discovered it somewhere up here, and I just didn't worry about it, because when it's in his coat or whatever, it's so low to the eye level, the visual view of the piece, that you can't see the one row mistake that I made. And he definitely didn't see it. So he loved it. He was surprised. I was knitting it and keeping it a secret. This, you know, if you look at this, you might think, oh, that's so tedious to knit. But it wasn't. It was so much fun. And it just knits up so quick. I actually knit this in 3 days. So I knit it, and the part that took me a while was just finishing it up and getting it put together right before my anniversary. If you see at the top, you also have this sort of seam, but when it's in the collar, it fits like this, and you do not see that at all. Now, what was really fun was whenever I knit this for my husband, of course, I knew my son was going to comment and want one himself. But actually, my son likes to wear bow ties. If he has the choice between a regular tie, a traditional tie, and a bow tie, he always chooses a bow tie. So what's really lovely is within this book, included in that pattern, is also the possibility to knit a bow tie. And I think this took me like a day or two. I knit my son up a bow tie. I want to make sure I don't show anything. But this is the bow tie, the traditional bow tie. And I knit the bow tie for my son, which is such a beautiful piece. I also knit it in the Trønderbunad colors. He wore this to a party, a school party, and also on New Year's Eve. And it's sort of the same principle. It has this a little bit wider on the bow tie. It has a traditional bow tie front, and then you have this piece that goes around the neck with a button closure. And he also looked really great in it and loved it. This is a modern twist on the traditional bunad, and you can wear a little bit of the bunad on other occasions instead of the whole full costume. Of course, my battery died. It's getting to be really stormy outside, so I hope this lighting will stay for just a little bit longer until the end of my vlog. I really did enjoy knitting these traditional pieces from this book, Modern Traditional Knitting. And I'm also working on a pair of mittens from the book. I've got one of them finished, and I've started, I'm up in the pattern on the other one. And this is also Rauma Wool and comes from this book here. And you can see the mittens on the back of the book right here. It is a Selbu rose that is kind of in half on each of the hands. And when you put the hands together, then the Selbu rose has all of the 8 petals. I really love this pattern. It's super inspired. It's modern. I was really wondering about the cuff because in the book, the photographs don't, I mean, you can see the cuff, but you can't get a real sense of it. So I was a little bit worried how this was all going to work in with the pattern, but it's absolutely perfect. It's a perfect cuff with the mitten, and you see that it's a really lovely cuff. And then it goes up into the pattern. I haven't done the thumbs yet, and I'm about, I'm up in here on the second mitten, so I should have those finished by the next vlog for you to see how they really work together. I wanted to give a little tip this week about when you're knitting mittens. A lot of people ask you to put in waste yarn. I'm not an afterthought thumb person. That technique doesn't work for me, so I still use the old-fashioned where you add the waste yarn and put your thumb stitches on hold, but I don't know if I've ever told what I really use for that. I don't use yarn at all. I use dental floss, and I use it over and over again. And I just want to grab the tool that I made to keep this. I have like a slip knot here that you can make longer or shorter, and I wind it up on one of my handmade scrappy minders. So I make these waste yarn or scrappy minders so that you wind your scraps around them, and they're very light and you can take them in your knitting bag. And so what I do is I just use this dental floss piece. It's quite worn now and probably I need to get some more, but dental floss is covered in wax, so it slips very easy through the rustic stitches. And then I just take this and I store it in my mitten bag, and I just wind it around my scrappy minder and keep it in my mitten basket or knitting bag for when I'm going to do another pair of mittens and use that same dental floss over again. These scrappy minders are so handy. I use it for color blocking, I use it for scrappy socks, and you can find those in my farm shop. I hand make these. I made this design. You can put them on a ring if you need to, like to keep a lot of different color samples together. I use them for natural dyeing so that I can document the colors from my dye pots in a season, the range of colors that I get. But anyway, I just use dental floss, which is a nice tip because whenever I'm going to put these live stitches back on the needle and begin to knit the thumb, then I just slide that dental floss right out of there. So that's a little mitten tip for this week. I'm looking forward to having these mittens finished. Again, it's Rauma garn, and it comes from this book, which is going to be in English very soon. And I have a couple of other projects that I've cast on from this book that I'm going to be sharing in the future. So after I knit those projects, the bunad tie and the bunad bow tie, I went right into knitting Nicholas a pair of mittens that he's been desperate for. And I also had a couple of false starts. I wanted to use my stash yarns. I tried to do that, but I wasn't getting gauge, and it just wasn't knitting up the way that I wanted it to. So I put that aside until I had the possibility to order the yarn that is called for in the pattern. These are designed by Dianna Walla. These are her sort of inspired Harry Potter mittens, and Nicholas has been desperate for these Slytherin mittens. Now, outside of Norwegian wool and small farms, Tuku Wool is my absolute top 5. So I ordered this from Christina at Gulsam. She is the distributor of Tuku Wool in my area. These mittens are so warm. Now, he's worn them quite a lot. They're so warm. This is a rustic, extremely soft yarn. I just cannot recommend Tuku Wool highly enough. I love the traditional everyday Selbu cuff. She's got lots of Selbu elements within it. The tip is a Selbu style with another element. She's got the traditional thumb with thumb gusset and palm, and then she's just taken her own clever twist on the Harry Potter Slytherin house and made this beautiful pair of mittens that he absolutely loves. It was hard for me to borrow these back for the vlog today because he was worried he wouldn't have them for tomorrow at school. Super soft, super hardy, beautifully written pattern. They come in all of the Harry Potter houses. So there's Hufflepuff and I don't know all the houses, but this was a complete joy to knit. And you know, to knit this snake and everything, just having the Tuku wool gave that all just so much joy. I absolutely love these mittens. Such an inspired design. On the thumb, the little Hilson is also a little S for Slytherin or an image of a snake. I love the traditional patterning on the thumb. Thumbs are my absolute favorite. A lot of people hate thumbs, but I really love them. So this was another gift for Nicholas, and he absolutely loved it, and I can't recommend that pattern highly enough. So those are some of the projects that I was working on and finished in December into the new year. And last week I told you about my cloth napkin sewing projects that I've been doing, replacing paper towels and napkins. And I brought my own this week, the one that I knit for more formal dinners. And I've embroidered all of our names onto the napkin, and then just this beautiful little decorative stitch along the edge. Now this set I made for Christmas. I hadn't quite learned to do mitered corners yet. I've done that now on all of the other sets of cloth napkins that I made. So I used another cloth napkin technique that you can find on YouTube tutorials. And this is just where you fold over the edging and you make this sort of nice edge. But I really prefer the mitered corners. I think they're much more beautiful and they're fun to make as well. So I'm still making cloth napkins. I've prepared a lot of fabric for natural dyeing in the spring so that maybe I could put some of them up in my farm shop, but also to have some more colorful napkins. I really don't have anything that I've acquired or anything like that. I left my job and I work here on the farm, and so I really am trying to use only from my stash and whatever I make myself, and I don't really have a budget to shop very many things. But I received this beautiful gift that I want to show you from a friend of mine named Julie. She works with Johito Locatelli. She does all sorts of like test knitting and pattern support and Ravelry support for her. And I got to meet her in London this past summer after being Instagram friends. And she makes the most beautiful linen bags, hand embroidery. And I want to put her information up here so that you can follow her on Instagram, but also that you can, yeah, here's her information. This was our crochet from your heart get together, and her little shop is called Evie and Lily. But Julie makes all of these bags. It's beautiful organic linen. She has this gorgeous leather zipper pull on it, and I keep all of I took everything out, but I keep this as my notions pouch, and I have been doing for several months. I took this with me to the United States, and I kept all my needles and tapestry needles and everything in this. If you're looking for someone that really makes a beautiful handmade product, I'd love for you to visit Julie's shop and find her on Instagram. She is really an inspiring knitter, not just a maker of bags and beautiful things. She has this gorgeous, she even covers the zipper with such a beautiful piece of coordinating fabric, and it's got this little loop that you can attach it to. And I've just been forgetting to share this beautiful pouch that I really love, and I've been using it quite a lot. This linen blend, or could be a cotton linen blend, I'm not sure. It feels like linen and cotton. It's so durable. So I've been enjoying that. And I'm all just going to show you one whip today. I have many things well, not one. This is my second one, isn't it? Because I'm knitting those mittens. But I'm still working on my shawl. You can see the lace pattern here. I'm still working on this gorgeous lake song shawl by Woolenberry within my own breed of sheep, the Grå Trøndersau. I just can't stop knitting it. Of course, I've memorized the lace pattern now, and I just keep going and going and going. All of this wool is from my mentor farm. Her yarns have come back, and they're absolutely stunning. When I talk about her yarns and when she received them, I'm feeling a little bit down because I know that my yarns are not going to make it in time for my international guest. I've got a feeling that they're going to be later than they have projected, because when I talked to the mill, they said they're running behind. So I had really hoped that I was going to have all of my farm yarns for my visitors to celebrate that they were here and get to see them and touch them, and that's just not going to happen. They are a bit, oh, the door's blown now. They are delayed, and I'm just going to have to be patient until they are finished and they call me to pick them up at the mill. They're supposed to be ready in January, early February, but now I have no clue when they'll be here. But yeah, I think I've shared everything that I want to share this week. I'm working on a lot of, design projects for other makers. I'm working on a beautiful inspired design from Woolenberry. That's kind of a Valentine's inspired design, and I've been drawing and making this to represent Woolenberry, which I told you earlier that I visited, and she uses that motif in many things that she makes there on the farm. So I was really inspired to create something from her farm. I'm working on some other projects. So that's really what I wanted to share with you this week. I'm soon caught up with all of my makes since December. I hope that you will have a really cozy making week. If you're interested in checking out my farm shop, I hope you will. It would be my pleasure to make any of my handmade pieces for you, to inspire your making, or to offer you an organic and natural knitting tool product. That would be my pleasure. I wish you a beautiful week until next time. Thank you for joining me and spending your time with me today.